Hey everybody out there, you're tuned in to 91.8 The Fan. This is Kana and you're in my corner. I'm here with a very special guest who's kind of snowed in at the moment, so he's stuck with us. But thank you for coming to the show, Justin Cook.
Thank you for having me.
And would you like to say anything, a big introduction to the listeners out there, anything special like that?
Well, sure. If you're not already, make sure you check out Dragon Ball Z Kai on Nicktoons as well as the CW.
Oh yeah, that's a really big thing right now. Congratulations getting that on so many channels and being able to sort of, see the impact of that a second time.
It's aside from it being an impact for the second time for sure. Dragon Ball in general seems to be kind of a little bit of a Midas, as it were. Everything it touches turns to gold. But Dragon Ball Kai, I have to say, if for those who haven't watched it, it's an entirely different experience of Dragon Ball Z. It's certainly nothing. It's nothing like the original version. Once you start really kind of getting into it, only on a surface view is it that. But the show is really it's an incredible retelling of the story.
And I actually only got to see one episode. I was over at another anime convention where I actually got to meet Christmas for the first time, which is one of our DJs. And it was so weird because I remember watching that show when I was a kid, when I was about 8 years old. And I was like, why do they keep fighting? Because I'm a little girl. I really don't want to see big burly men fight each other. But seeing it now as it's shortened and sort of, gets to the plot a little bit quicker, it seems more interesting to me.
Well, and it's also a direct representation of the manga that Akira Toriyama originally put forth, and so this is really, I guess, a much closer director's cut. You'll get those rare occasions like the movie Alien, where Ridley Scott gives you a director's cut that's actually shorter than the original theatrical release, and this is kind of in that same vein of a cut. It's certainly a better representation of what the source material is.
And I have to wonder, when you were told you were going to work on the project again, what was the first thing going through your head?
Called Chris Sabat. Was truly Chris was the guy who, brought me into Dragon Ball Z way back many moons ago. And, so obviously if we were going to have a chance to reapproach the series, I was going to be getting in contact with Chris, which, from the start, we'd always, as soon as we began working with each other back almost 11 years ago, over 11 years ago now, and just really, sunk our teeth into what this show was and what we wish we could have done with it, aside from being kind of locked into the direction that we were already proceeding with the show. And so without, an exorbitant expense, there's no way we could have really done anything about it at the time. So we were just really kind of happy to be on the ship, as it were. You know what I'm saying? But this, this was an incredible opportunity. So yeah, the first thing that came to my head was call Chris.
And I have to wonder, when you knew what was happening, was there anything that you felt, oh, well, we did this the first time around, let's not do that the second time around? Is there anything like that stands out in your head?
Oh, I mean, absolutely. We, as soon as it became something of an idea that this was coming up, which was almost 2 years ago now, Chris Sabat, John Bergmeyer, and myself all sat down and began really brainstorming what's the list. So to say, is there something that comes to mind? I mean, Chris Sabat has been a strong supporter of wanting to keep all the attack names more to the original, which he's been able to do in a few cases. There's been some debate on that back and forth, but as far as original namings for some of the characters, being able to recast a lot of the characters that Chris was cast as originally was a bit of a relief to him, but also added some, what has long since been a fan topic on forums, which is, Chris voicing the entire show and whatnot. So we're being able to really spotlight a lot more of our actors. Plus, everybody has experience of 10 years, so re-recording it, and rewriting it, and reapproaching it was certainly all things we wanted to do, as opposed to, trying to re-edit the sound files from the original show, or from the original dub, and then, kind of just trying to do it all in post, as it were. So really reapproaching the entire series and re-recording the entire series was certainly something that was on top of the list.
And now, between then and there's actually a sort of, I guess you could say, pacing of how anime fans have reacted and grown and evolved. And it must be really interesting to see, the boom near when Dragon Ball Z happened, and then seeing how it is today with Kai.
Well, sure. At the same time, Dragon Ball Z Kai, really never went away. It went away on broadcast, and certainly went away as the fad of trading card games and whatnot kind of began to really narrow in on Magic the Gathering and what's kind of at its height right now as far as that market is concerned. But it's to a whole new group of kids now. I mean, the incredible thing about Dragon Ball Z is that for 3 generations now internationally, perhaps even 4, the world of Dragon Ball Z, as far as the story has been told, and to be able to continue that trend into a new generation, I think is an incredible experience and an incredible opportunity.
Well, I have to say, I think the time when Dragon Ball Z and Sailor Moon and all that, those sort of things were on the air, is where a lot of people I know my age, they got into anime. So I hope that this kind of brings in a new wave of anime fans.
Hey, there you go. We're agreed on that.
More people to buy the product. Ching!
Well, not just that, but the fact that, being able to present an entertainment like this stateside is an awesome responsibility and an incredible opportunity. I mean, it's amazing. So, of course, I've got a vested interest in that as I make my living doing it, but, and I take it seriously as well. So I'd hate to lose this opportunity. And you're right, anime is taking some interesting turns as of late, and I'd love to be able to see it begin to kind of, for the entire industry to feel a bit of a resurgence into the marketplace.
I hope so as well. I mean, you've seen, Funimation, for example, is doing a very good job of streaming anime and making it available, with ads and commercials in between, which is very nice for the technology of today. It's kind of sad because while technology has probably helped make the process faster, it's also probably made it easier to access the medium in not so nice ways.
Well, and to that end, I mean, we are truly, honestly, as we speak, we are looking for ways to manipulate, the technology that we have available to us and that the fans have to them to bring them the best of what they want. This is kind of a humorous inside story, as it were, but I think you'll enjoy it. I was in a meeting probably almost about maybe 2 to 3 years ago. And in the meeting, one of the topics that was brought up, it was a brainstorming session. And what was brought up was that what is the number one thing that our fans want? The top of the list was they want more anime for free, available immediately. And so, I was impressed to be surrounded by a group of people that were, in my opinion, able to nail what it is that anime fans want. And with that being said, right now as we speak, that's what we're still, feverishly working at trying to do. There are big things in the future as far as Funimation and online, the online givings, as it were, of our content to the fans. So certainly everybody keep their ears and eyes out for that, because it's certainly coming soon.
I have to say, from a business standpoint, that would be really scary for me to hear. I mean, I have to treat 91.8 The Fan a lot like a business very commonly. Obviously, nothing as big as Funimation or, even, brother book and mortar sort of store, or anything like that. So I would think hearing those things would be kind of scary.
Absolutely not. From the perspective of Funimation, what we're what we are all about is creating a product for the fans to be able to watch. And, so there's a responsibility to that, to give people what they want. And I think that's incredible. And as long as that's always our focus, I think that Funimation will always, will endure.
Well, I have to applaud you and Funimation and all the people who help work on all the products you guys put out, because I've never seen a company adapt so quickly to the technology advances, to customers' wants, etc., etc. So if I had an applaud sound effect right now, I would insert it right here.
Well, thanks much. One thing that I've learned from being here now for about 11 years is that, Funimation is a group of fans who are putting out what they would like to see if we were out there. And, to still have that 11 years in, and to still have some folks that have been around there that long and longer, who, their drive and ambition to succeeding at this goal has always been paramount. And, it's incredible to honestly to work with and for a group of people that's doing something I think that is as great and incredible as this.
And you sort of have a home there too. You get to all be geeks there.
That's right. Nobody gets shunned for being a geeks.
That sounds like all my friends. But it must kind of be nice to, have a job like that for so long, a career like that for so long, and be able to go there every day and see people who you've known for God knows how many years,
Right, absolutely.
And it's obvious that you really enjoy what you do. Is there anything particular that you would say is one of your favorite aspects of the job, or could you just not choose?
Well, aspects of the job I could absolutely choose. One of the things that I excel at is puzzle management, as it were. And, so constantly the thing that is entertaining and fun for me to do is to, take basically what would be a moving picture and try to, constantly construct what elements are needed to, for each frame that is about to come up next. So that's, and that comes from everything to, to try to plot out how to approach, all the different titles that we'll work on, at once, and balancing workloads, and just all those things are kind of fun for me to conquer, as it were. That in and of itself is geeky, but in a totally different way. So, it's also incredible to see people who have been doing this now for quite some time. And, there was a time when, for instance, I was directing episodes. There was a time I produced episodes. And then, folks that were directors for me when I produced became producers of their own right and success. And then now are bringing up their own lines of directors. And again, it's watching anime affect, generations of people. And I think that's incredible to watch happen. And it's just neat to be a part of that tree, as it were.
That's a whole nother side to it too. I mean, I get to obviously see the fans' perspective, but you don't commonly think about how voice actors who have been in the industry, or producers or directors who have been in the industry for a while, essentially grow within that industry. So that's kind of neat to hear it straight from you.
Well, it's, the thing that is probably, you said, what is my favorite aspect? And ultimately it's to work to provide an atmosphere where the talented people who dedicate themselves and, a grand portion of their time to creating these dubs is essentially all we're doing here. We're talking about creating a dub, and that somebody takes it so seriously to, when we'll pull a show out of a hat here, I tell you. When Scott Sager reached into the cast of our acting pool of over 450 actors to select the, 15 to 18 characters that would voice these roles, that's not a job that's ever taken lightly. It's never one that's approached with trepidation. It's very deliberate and intentional. And, the decisions that are there and that are made may not be the one that one of, 100,000 people would want to see, or here, as it were, but based upon where his head is within the show and and all of these different kind of variables, Scott is selecting the perfect, candidates as his mind is hearing the show. And a lot of what all of this is as the torch gets passed, in the seat of the voice director, is by trusting and putting faith in the years of experience that these people have had prior to stepping into that seat. In the example of Scott Sager, Scott Sager used to ADR engineer for Chris Sabat and myself, working on episodes as far back as, I believe the Boo Saga and before. I believe even in the Cell Saga of Dragon Ball Z when it was originally produced. Certainly on Yu Yu Hakusho and Fruits Basket. So Scott's been around a long time in this game, and he's watched a lot of incredible people and have picked up a lot of incredible skills. But that's just one example of one voice director, and there are many of those kind of guys and gals that are working for Funimation now who just, it's incredible to watch them grow. And at the essence of that, it's by trying to provide an environment where that can happen.
Oh, it sounds like a sort of a big happy family. It sounds really cute. We're going to take a short break here on 91.8 The Fan, but you want to keep it tuned to your favorite station because when we come back, we'll still be here with our special guest.
You need to cry. Let's brainstorm. I could hit you over the head with a wrench, or I could stab you in the gut with the knife. Knife wrench! Practical and safe.
Are you tired of crappy ideas that don't work? So are we. So we invented 918 The Fan. 918 The Fan. Everything you want to hear, nothing you don't.
Knife wrench! For kids.
Hey everybody, we're back to the interview, so let's jump right into it. I am sort of curious, though, if you've been a voice actor in the booth and then you go to producing or directing, you sort of kind of get in tune, I would assume, with how the voice actor is feeling. You can tell if they're getting frustrated with a line or if they're, doing their best that day or whatever it is. So I think that would help as well, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. And that's the genius about how it is we're able to move through so much anime so efficiently. Isn't just a matter of adding more people and adding more space to do it. It's finding ways of doing it faster. And I'm here to tell you that the number one, talent that all of the voice directors have that we have working for us are a way to relate to people immediately. These are the kind of people that when in a social, environment, they are immediately able to kind of touch base with everybody there on a personal level. As the point is that is what has to be done within the booth every day. These emotions that these characters feel in these episodes of anime that we're producing are real. They're not zany, Looney Tune-esque kind of appearance on screen. These are real characters next to real people, as it were, with real emotions. And if the stories aren't presented that way, then the anime is lost, the entire series. So all of that is considered, all of that's taken into account, and providing an environment for that to happen with these directors, again, is just incredible that they're able to really connect with the actor that way. And that's connecting that personal relationship and knowing what they're going through when they're in the booth, just like you said.
I just think that's really neat. It's sort of fascinating to me because, from a fan's perspective, we see the other side. We see the finished production, and not always do we see, what happens inside the booth. Sometimes we get a blooper reel, but not often.
Right.
So, if there's one thing you could tell fans who are interested in that side, what would it be?
Well, interested in what way, I guess. Dig deep. I realize there's not a lot of special features right now, and I can tell you one thing, that as we go forward with a lot of our DVDs, one of our focuses are hoping to bring a little bit more special feature content of behind-the-scene footage and things to that nature to our properties and brands. So we hope to be able to kind of let in a little bit of light there. But certainly over the last 11 years, I can attest that there's material out there that really kind of gives a lot of insight into kind of whichever direction everybody kind of wants to step into. as their own interest, predicts for them, which is, there's so many different aspects of what Funimation does. You've got voice actors, sure, and you've got people who are running the audio rigs, absolutely, technical-minded people and mixers. You've got creative directors and producers as well. But, aside from that, you've got people who are quality control checking each DVD that's made. You've got people who are, actually really in touch with the fans on a almost one-on-one basis through our conventions that we attend and that we're present at, as well as folks who are working, on the business side to promote the show within the world of business and to Cartoon Network and different broadcasters across the area, Nicktoons. It's, there's so many different aspects. Each one of the DVDs that you see at the store has been sold in there by an individual who works, at an office that I sit in meetings with every day. These are incredibly gifted people who really, are keen at their job. PR, our voice to the public, is run by an individual, who you've spoken with, who shares your name. All of those kind of things are, different aspects of really what Funimation is, and what makes it run. And without any of those components, it wouldn't run correctly. And so it really runs a lot deeper than just what you actually hear on the DVD. We have people whose job it is to watch anime coming out of Japan currently broadcasting to decide what it is we ought to chase and follow that we're eventually going to be bringing to the fans. Now, honestly, in record time, as in some cases, a DVD dub is being released less than a year after the first episode broadcast on television. So there's great advances that are being made by people who have a passion for each aspect of anime in America, which dips into so many different levels of possibilities.
I have to say, you probably made anime fans everywhere excited about that just watching anime that comes from Japan one. I'm just gonna say.
Right, sure. I mean, that's in our, but that has to be part of our reservoir of talent. Otherwise, how would we be able to know? There would be too much to do for one person to handle it.
Definitely. And I have to wonder, besides Kai, are there any other projects that you can talk about that are upcoming or that recently came out?
Well, a few that I'm, very involved with, understandably so, would be that both Fruits Basket and Yu Yu Hakusho are being released on Blu-ray.
Ooh, that's exciting.
It's new. Yeah, it's new footage, as it were, new film transfers from Japan for Yu Yu Hakusho, and we're actually combing back through the entire series. Any inconsistencies in the dub, any kind of things like that, I'm certainly looking over and trying to patch and correct. So there'll be small additional, changes that will make it its own unique and an isolated version of what will be the definitive English dub. So that's a very exciting project that we're all working very hard right now to pull together. So we're piecing together the dates, and so keep an eye out for that. But hope in the spring you should start seeing those coming away. Fruits Basket is another one that we're going back through and really cleaning up the audio in that particular show's case, having watched now 5 episodes of it, rewatching it, it really stands the test. There's a lot of improvements that we've all made over the last 10 years for sure, or 8 years in the case of that show, but that's one of those titles that really, I think, was the beginning of, not the beginning, but towards the beginning of Funimation really taking a step in a direction that departed from where we previously were, and the pressures of wanting to certainly put a good foot forward on that was important to us at the time. So the pressures were great, but after 8 years of watching it, where there's the opportunity to make a lot of adjustments or changes if need be, isn't really arising. That show truly stands on its own.
And now I have to wonder, is there any place where fans can keep updated on this sort of thing? I know you don't do the social media thing, but is there any places you can think of across the internet?
Funimation does. Get involved with the Funimation websites. They're certainly interactive now. They're always improving themselves. But the news source that comes from Funimation websites is certainly the best place I would imagine to go to for information regarding this. And as I certainly see in my email account ever so often, little questions that have floated to me from fans. It's not necessarily being someone myself who's always clicking around online and joining the websites of different places and whatnot. In the case of Funimation, it's certainly something to take a look at, because questions that are asked to people at Funimation, they get answered. I can tell you that as a fact because I've answered them. So if you've got a question, you don't see something you're looking for, ask a question on the website and you'll get an answer.
Oh, that's really cool. And now for you personally, do you have any conventions coming up that you want to tell people about?
Currently, I don't. But I could certainly tell you there are a lot of great conventions that are out there, and I rarely am able to make it out to different con appearances, but it's still early yet, and the next con season is still being booked, so so I hope to be able to say I'll be at one, but right now I'm not sure of one coming up.
Awesome, just checking. And before we let you go, because we're nearing the end of our dated time for this interview, I was wondering if you'd be willing to participate in a 91.8 The Fan tradition.
Oh, well, of course.
Oh, wonderful. We ask everybody whether they're a voice actor or not, if they'd be willing to do a radio bump for us.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Awesome. Now, we do this live on air, so there might be mess-ups that might be aired. Just saying. But we were wondering if you could say, my name is, you insert your name, I do this, you insert what you do, and you're tuned into 91.8 The Fan.
All right, sure. Hi, this is Justin Cook, and Hi, I'm Justin Cook, and I'm a producer at Funimation Entertainment. You are listening to 91.8 The Fan.
Perfect, thank you.
No trouble. Wish I could have been a one-take Jake, but I guess 2 times is all right.
Hey, it's okay. You kind of sounded like a Looney Tune in the middle.
I know. Oh, he was great until he turned into like Elmer Fudd.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell the listeners out there?
Hey, it's you guys that keeps anime alive, and you're the ones who keep it coming onto the shelves at Walmart and Best Buy and everywhere else that you're able to find it, and online as well. So, your support is what we need. We're simply the device that turns it out to you, that looks for it and makes it happen, and we take that responsibility very seriously. But you guys are the true device that makes the whole thing work. So keep supporting anime, and we'll keep bringing it to you.
For anybody out there who missed this interview, you can catch it as long as you keep it tuned to 91.8 The Fan. We'll post it up on the website over at 918thefan.com within the next 2 days.